members of our Committee of Adjustment to sign in.
Okay.
Yes, okay. And if for some strange reason we don't get any more members, we do have quorum.
Okay. So, Secretary Treasurer, did you want me to commence now? Because it is actually 4:30 p.m.
Sure, we can go ahead.
Okay. It is 4:30 p.m., so we will call our meeting to order. I'm going to require a mover and a seconder for the resolution to convene as the Committee of Adjustment for November the 18th, 2020 hearing. A mover, Stuart, and myself. So our Secretary Treasurer, you got that information?
Yes, Stuart Coxhead and Terry Fellner moved in second.
Thank you very much.
Where's Terry?
I'm not seeing contact with Terry. Are you seeing, you do have information with Terry, do you, our Secretary Treasurer?
Yes, I see Terry on screen.
Okay, he's not showing up on mine, but that's wonderful that you can see him. Thank you very much.
Okay, Member Fellner, can you just say a few words just so we can hear you?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Now I can see you.
No.
Thanks, Terry. Now I
Came out of hiding.
Thank you very much, Terry. We do have the Committee of Adjustment for the Corporation of the Township of Seguin hereby convenes at 4:30 p.m. on Wednesday, November 18th, 2020. Is everyone in favor?
All right.
That's great. Motion is carried. The Committee of Adjustment hereby convenes a public meeting as per the Planning Act. Applicants and the public can speak at the public meeting. Notice of the decisions will be sent to applicants and to the public if requested. Any person may appeal a decision or condition of approval within 20 days after the notice of the decision. We're now going to be looking at the approval of our agenda. So I require a mover and a seconder for a resolution to accept the agenda for today's meeting as circulated. Do I have a mover and a seconder? Greg Getty and Stuart Coxhead. That the Committee of Adjustment for the Corporation of the Township of Seguin hereby approves the agenda for the November 18th, 2020 hearing. All in favor? Pass. It is in, the motion is carried. I also now require a mover and a seconder for a resolution to accept the minutes of the previous meeting of the committee.
I'll move that.
Thank you, Terry Fellner. And we have a seconder, Greg Getty. Thank you very much. The resolution is that the Committee of Adjustment for the Corporation of the Township of Seguin hereby accepts as read and circulated the minutes of the last hearing that took place on Wednesday, October the 14th, 2020. All in favor? That is a motion carried. Thank you. We now have a request with regards to disclosure of pecuniary interest. I now ask the Committee of Adjustment for disclosure of any pecuniary interest with respect to today's applications. Does anyone have any pecuniary interests? The answer is no. So we do not have anyone with pecuniary interests. I will now ask the Secretary Treasurer to introduce our first application.
Application A 2020-0021H is for 43 Bravo Peacock Road. And this is a series of minor variances for property redevelopment with a new cottage and a new boathouse, requiring lot coverage, maximum boathouse height, dock side yard setback, and shoreline cumulative width variances for the proposed structures. No correspondence was received in relation to this file.
Does anyone in attendance wish to speak to this application?
Yes.
And could you identify yourself, please?
Hi, my name is Maratis. I'm of Clan Muskoka. I'm here today representing David Bespalco as his agent and professional planner. He is, in fact, connecting here as well. So he's present here. There he is. So I just want to, I guess, firstly, I just want to state that I have read the report that planning staff has written. I do agree with their recommendation and the information that was included with it. What I'll do is I'll just give you a very brief description of the reasons why the variances have been requested, and just to sort of clarify on why they in fact are needed. So firstly, I guess the main variance is there's a 1% lot coverage increase proposed, and there is basically a redevelopment of both the dwelling, and there is the construction of a new boathouse occurring as part of this development proposal. Looking at the property, it's heavily vegetated. There is a lot of native vegetation in and around the proposed location of the dwelling, which is basically keeping in line with where the existing dwelling is in the property. So there isn't significant tree cutting or anything along those lines required for this application. As a result, the additional 1% lot coverage seems to be appropriate for this site, and doesn't look like it would result in any overdevelopment. There is a need for a side yard setback reduction for an existing dock. And just to clarify, that dock is actually currently encroaching over the neighboring property line. And what we're proposing to do is to twist it and to bring it into a position where it's no longer encroaching, and also leave a 1.5 meter setback as well from that side lot line. As staff has indicated, the distance between the relocated dock and the nearest neighboring dock is pretty significant. It's about 100 feet. So there is a good separation distance between those two. And in fact, it is improving on an existing situation where it's encroaching wholly over the property line. So I feel like that's a fairly good improvement to that situation. Looking at the next variance of shoreline structure width, this is a sort of a technical one, in that the actual width of the dock and the width of the proposed boathouse combined does in fact comply to the maximum width permitted for the property, but because of the angle of them in relation to the chord frontage of the property, it sort of skews that number. And in staff's report, they sort of indicated that this resulting number doesn't necessarily reflect what is proposed on the site, because the widths themselves of the structures do in fact comply, but it's just simply the way that they're juxtaposed in with the chord frontage of the property that it ends up skewing in. So that variance was required to sort of recognize that situation. And then finally, there's a boathouse height variance, and this is just to permit sort of a decorative structure on the top of the roof, which is by the bylaws definition considered part of the main roof. The bulk of the actual roof of the structure does in fact comply to height. It's just the little sort of enlarged cupola that's being proposed that in fact exceeds it, and it exceeds it by 0.9 meters, so it isn't a significant amount. and it's only about like a small section of the actual roof that's actually considered that. The eave width or eave height from the dock to the bottom of the eave does comply. And if you were to measure this main roof without the ornamental structure on top of it included, it would comply as well at 4.3 meters. So realistically, the bulk of massing of the structure, it would be meeting the intent of the bylaw. It's just that's simply that one little portion that sticks up that is in fact requiring the variance. So those are the 4 variants that are required. I again agree with staff that I have no concerns with it. I would recommend the approval of it, but I'd be happy to answer any questions. And David, if you want to add anything, or if you're just here to answer questions, I'm sure the committee would have a few, if potentially for you as well. But that's all for my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Does the committee have any questions?
The only question, actually I do. The only question that I have, and actually it's in regards to the recommendations from the town. Point number 2 for the landscape enhancement plan. Because of where the boathouse is going to be situated, there will be a number of large trees that are going to have to be taken down right at the shoreline. Can the landscape enhancement plan be expanded to not only include the front of the cottage, but the lot across to the boathouse, to show what you're going to take down and what you would do to remedy that with replanting? If you're going to be getting the landscape enhancement plan anyway, it would make sense to include that space of the shoreline over to the boathouse.
Is that question for me or?
Yeah, so
Well, one thing I can address through you, Madam Chair, to the committee is our tree cutting bylaw does provide an exemption around buildings. So I believe there's a 3-meter buffer around a structure that has a building permit where trees can be removed. But that is something that the committee, if you wish to modify the resolution, we would need a mover and a seconder to do that. But what we would do is amend the condition number 2 to read, for example, this plan will depict new vegetative plantings and enhancements within the 20-meter front yard between the proposed new cottage and shoreline, and depict tree preservation adjacent to the proposed boathouse, or something like that. Like this way, that prior to any construction occurring, trees that have to be removed versus trees that will be protected will be marked. They could use red and green tape, for example, and staff can take a look at that before any work is done. Savis, I don't know if you have any comments on that.
I guess through you, Chair. I don't see that as a big issue. I would believe the intention is to keep as many trees as possible in that area. If the committee feels more comfortable that this sort of that condition be amended to sort of look at that area as well, I don't believe that's a big issue. I know that there's a requirement that 90% of the shoreline buffer be naturally vegetated, and I think that would be the aim of our site plan approval application that would follow this. But yeah, if the issue is that you want to look at specifically that area as well, because of the way the resolution is currently worded, I don't see an issue with that. But I'll defer to David if he has anything he wants to add to it.
no, I don't have any significant issues with that. I would say that the area that you're referring to is heavily wooded right now, so it will require some shoreline tree adjustment. But there are a lot of trees there currently. But I don't have a problem with amending the landscape plan as needed.
Okay.
So our Secretary Treasurer, this resolution I have, this is the one that we will be dealing with?
So what we will need to do now is basically a straw vote. So if member Getty is moving to amend the resolution, we will need a mover and then we'll need a seconder to amend it. If there is no seconder, then the proposed amendment is defeated, and then we'll go back to the original resolution. So, Madam Chair, what you'll do is, Member Getty, what you'll do is you'll request to amend the resolution, or you'll move to amend the resolution. And the chair will then ask if there is a seconder for that amended resolution. And if we have one, then I will add in the text and then I can read it and then we can call for a vote.
Okay, I'm putting forward a move. I move that we just amend point number 2 for the landscape enhancement plan, just to include the area of the shoreline between the dock that's being moved and the boathouse. I don't question that. I'm not questioning that Mr. Bespalko is looking to clear cut the trees. I'm just think that if we're already going to be doing a landscape enhancement plan, it would just make sense to include the area that's going to be affected over towards the boathouse.
Okay, so to the committee, so I'm going to read, I'm just coming up with this now, but I'm going to read a proposed text amendment to this resolution, and then Chair, you'll call for a mover and a seconder. Okay, so condition number 2 would be amended. It would read at the end sentence, this plan will depict new vegetative plantings and enhancements within the 20-meter front yard between the proposed new cottage and shoreline and in the area adjacent to the proposed boathouse.
Do we have a mover and a seconder?
Well, I'm moving it, so.
So Greg is the mover. Do we have a seconder?
Okay, Stuart has seconded that amended resolution.
Thank you very much. I'm no longer seeing Stuart, but thank you very much.
Yep. So that resolution has been amended. So Madam Chair, then I guess we would have discussion on the amended resolution and then call for a vote.
Right. So do we have discussion on this amended resolution? Does anyone have anything they wish to say? And so our Secretary Treasurer, did you wish me to read the existing resolution we have? And of course, on number 3, there would be, if you want, or number two, excuse me, on the second part of that resolution, you could make that change. Is that possible?
Yes. So Madam Chair, through you to committee. So what we have moved and seconded here is for an amended resolution, and shortly we'll call a vote. But what should happen is that the resolution should be read in its entirety and then call for a vote.
Okay, fine. So you want me to read this resolution now at this point in time, Secretary Treasurer?
Yes, and just Madam Chair, what I'm doing, I'm going to add in that text. So it's going to read within the 20-meter front yard between the proposed new cottage and shoreline and the area adjacent to the proposed boathouse.
Thank you.
Okay.
So this, please go
Sorry,
ahead.
yeah, Madam Chair, if the committee's okay with it, it is a lengthy resolution. The committee has the resolution in front of it. Madam Chair, if perhaps you want to start at subject to the following conditions and just read those out and then call.
Fine, I could certainly do that. So subject to the following conditions. Number 1, that development of the lot be subject to site plan control pursuant to Section 41 of the Planning Act. Number 2, that a landscape enhancement plan be prepared by a qualified professional and to the satisfaction of the township. This plan will depict new vegetative plantings and enhancements within the 20-meter front yard between the proposed new cottage and the shoreline. Number 3.
Sorry, Madam Chair.
And now, and in the area adjacent to the proposed boathouse. That's what we're adding. Is that correct, Secretary Treasurer?
That is the correct amended resolution.
Thank you very much. Number 3, that boat mooring on the south side of the proposed relocated swim dock is prohibited. Number 4, that the owner apply for and obtain a building permit within 2 years of the date of decision of the Committee of Adjustment. Are there any further questions or comments with regards to the resolution? Are we all in favor?
Yes.
Greg and Terry, our mover and our seconder.
Okay, so the application is approved, and we'll send out a notice of in the next few days.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you to the committee. Thank you very much. Much appreciated.
And I now ask our Secretary Treasurer to introduce the next application.
Application A 2020-00258 is for 48 Cary Lane. And this is a minor variance to permit construction of a new 1.5-story garage requiring a height variance and lot coverage variance. An email of support was received from the neighbor, and that was forwarded to the committee through email.
And do we have anyone in attendance to speak to this application?
Yes, it's Emmanuel Casola, the owner of the 48 Cary Lane.
Yes, Mr. Casola, please go ahead.
Yeah, I just looking to build a garage. Need a little bit of square footage as a variance, and I'm looking to do a little loft above the garage. And with the, I guess, the size of the height of the boat and the tractor, I will need to make the garage doors 9-foot doors rather than normal 8-foot doors to be able to fit those in and still give clearance above in the loft. So need some square footage. I think it's about 0.5%, 0.55% extra square footage, and 2 feet variance for height.
And does our committee have any questions? Stuart, did you have your hand up?
No.
Okay, so there are no questions. I'm going to require a mover and a seconder for the resolution to approve this application. Do we have a mover, please?
Yes.
Terry, thank you.
Yes, so
Terry
moved.
and Terry and Stuart.
Okay.
And this is the resolution that the Committee of Adjustment hereby approves variance application A 2020-0025-H Casola to construct a 111.48 square meter, 1.5-story garage with guest accommodations within the upper 1/2 story, and requests the following variances to zoning bylaw 2006-125. 1. Section 4.1.4, building height. Accessory structures maximum height equal 4.5 meters. The proposed garage would have a height of 5.1 meters, requiring a variance of 0.6 meters. Number 2, section 6.3, table 6.3, maximum lot coverage within 60 meters of the shoreline equals 7.25%. The proposed garage plus existing structures on the lot would result in lot coverage within 60 meters of the shoreline of 7.8%, requiring a variance of 0.55%. Subject to the following condition: that the owner apply for and obtain a building permit within 2 years from the date of decision of the Committee of Adjustment. And do we have all in favor? Motion is carried.
Okay, so the application's approved, and you will receive a notice of the decision within the next few days.
Thank you.
Thank you. I now ask our Secretary Treasurer to introduce our next application.
A 2020-0026C is for 124 Bravo Shoots Trail, and this is a minor variance for a reduced side yard setback for a new guest cabin. No correspondence was received.
Do we have anyone in attendance to speak to this application?
Yes, I'm here, Murray Ferner.
Please go ahead.
Okay, the bylaw, I guess, calls for a 5-meter setback, and I will have a setback of 2.9 meters. And I believe your committee members were out to the site to visit it and understand that we're trying to place it so that we don't have to do any tree cutting. And actually, it's probably the only place on the lot other than right behind the cottage that we could place this unit. So I will require a variance of 2.1 meters from my side neighbor's lot.
Okay. Do the committee members have any questions? No questions? I'm going to require a mover and a seconder for the resolution to approve this application. Greg is a mover and the seconder is Terry. That the Committee of Adjustment hereby approves variance application A-2020-0026-C Ferner to construct a 22.3 square meter guest cabin and request variance from the following sections of zoning bylaw 2006-125. Number 1, section 6.3, table 6.2, minimum side yard setback equals 5 meters. The proposed guest cabin would have a side yard setback of 2.9 meters, requiring a variance of 2.1 meters. Subject to the following condition: that the owner apply for and obtain a building permit within 2 years of the date of the decision of the Committee of Adjustment. Does everyone agree? And the motion is carried.
The application is approved, and we will send you a notice of the decision in the next few days.
I'd like to thank the committee members. Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome.
And I now ask our Secretary Treasurer to introduce our next application.
A 2020-0027H is for 693 Tally Ho Swords Road. This is a minor variance to the required exterior side yard setback and interior side yard setback for construction of a new cottage, and no correspondence was received.
And do we have anyone in attendance to speak to this application?
Over here, Wesley Crandall.
Please go ahead, sir.
Basically, due to the size of the lot and the setbacks with the zoning and the septic location, I require the minor variance for the 2 side lot or yards to basically construct the cottage.
And do we have any committee members? Are there any questions? No questions. I'm going to require a mover and seconder for the resolution to approve this application. Do we have a mover? Stuart? We have a mover and a seconder, Terry. That the Committee of Adjustment hereby approves variance application A-2020-0027-H Crandall to construct a single-story dwelling and requests variance for the following sections of zoning bylaw 2006-125. Number 1, section 6.3, table 6.2, minimum exterior side yard setback equals 10 meters. The proposed cottage would have an exterior side yard setback of 7.8 meters, requiring variance of 2.2 meters. Number 2, section 0.3, table 6.2, minimum interior side yard setback equals 5 meters. The proposed cottage deck would be located 3 meters from the interior side lot line, requiring a variance of 2 meters. And subject to the following condition, that the owner apply for and obtain a building permit within 2 years of the date of the decision of the Committee of Adjustment. So could I have a mover and a seconder?
I'll move that.
Terry and Greg. So we have mover and seconder, and the motion is carried.
Sorry, Madam Chair, we just need to call the vote.
Sorry, excuse me. Please, members, please vote.
Okay.
The motion is carried. Thank you.
The application's approved, and we'll send out a notice of the decision in the next few days.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Crandall. I now ask our Secretary Treasurer to introduce our next application.
Application A 2020-0028H is for 124 Alpha Maplehurst Road. And this is a minor variance to construct a new boathouse, and it requires variance to lot coverage. No correspondence was received.
Do we have anyone in attendance to speak to this application? No. Okay. Do we have any committee? We do?
Yeah, sorry, I had my hand up.
I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I didn't see
No worries.
that. Could you identify yourself, please?
Yes, Madam Chairman and committee, my name is Corbin Patton, Corbin Patton Designs located in Rosso. I'm an agent of the owner of Shane and Julie Beggs, and I'd like to speak on behalf of this project. Shane and Julie purchased the property in August, and are looking to make some improvements to the property and obviously their lifestyle, and one of those being the addition of a boathouse. After we're getting a site survey done and reviewing the property's coverage, the existing dwelling is close to the allowable coverage of the property. And with that being said, almost no boathouse could be built without a variance. And so we looked at designing a boathouse that I guess works within the conditions of the zoning bylaw, and being mindful of trying not to be too large. And so we provided enough space for the client to store his boats and a couple kayaks and canoes on the inside. And we require a variance of 1.75% for that. And I'm happy to take any questions that anyone might have.
Thank you. And do we have any questions from our committee? No questions. So I require a mover and a seconder for the resolution to approve this application. Greg is a mover and his seconder is Stuart. Thank you very much. This is the resolution that the Committee of Adjustment hereby approves variance application A-2020-0028-H Beggs to construct a single-story, single-slip boathouse with an attached boat port, and requests variance from the following sections of zoning bylaw 2006-125. Number 1, section 6.3, table 6.3, maximum lot coverage within 60 meters of the shoreline equals 7.25%. The proposed boathouse and existing development on the shore on the subject land would result in lot coverage within 60 meters of the shoreline of 9%, requiring variance of 1.75%. Subject to the following condition, that the owner apply for and obtain a building permit within 2 years of the date of decision of the Committee of Adjustment. Can we vote on this, please?
All in favor?
This is approved. All in favor.
Okay, so the application's approved, and we will send out a notice of decision in the next few days.
Thanks, Madam Chairman. Thanks, committee. Have a good night.
Thank you. Thank you very
Okay.
much. And I now ask our, oh, this was our last one, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, you're having too
Okay.
much fun, Karen. You're having too much.
Isn't that amazing? Yes. So do we have anything that our members wish to provide us with information before we do any sort of an adjournment? Does anyone wish to speak?
Just welcome Greg to the committee.
Thank you.
I hope you find it a worthwhile experience. I think you will. And,
Sure I will. Thank you.
And we need the help.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm very, very glad to see you.
And
Greg.
Adam's pretty tough on us, so we need another body.
Well, I had Greg came out with me on the Friday to do the postings, and yeah, we were kind of all over the township and pretty much gone for the whole morning, and we just walked the properties, and I just explained to Greg what I look at when I go out and see these, and I think this was a good meeting to start out on because we had some pretty straightforward ones, but the properties were diverse and we had some interesting conditions put on some of the variances. So this is, Greg, this is kind of, this would be like a pretty typical meeting of the committee. We were pretty efficient. We moved through them pretty quickly.
Yeah.
We haven't had a really long meeting in quite a while, but yeah, most of the meetings, half hour, 45 minutes. Yeah, next month we have 4. And I don't think there's anything earth-shattering on the agenda, but there's some new developments going on, and I think the committee will be interested in seeing those. And Greg, I don't know again if you wanted to come out again for this one, or did you want to go out on your own? It's up to you. Just give me a call.
Okay. Yeah, no problem.
Good.
And do we have anyone else? No one else has anything else to say? That's okay. So I needed a mover and a seconder for the resolution to adjourn. Do we have a mover,
I'll
please?
move that one.
Terry, thank you, Terry. And do
I'll
we have a-
second that one.
Thank you, Greg.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Welcome,
So-
welcome.
The resolution is that the Committee of Adjustment for the Corporation of the Township of Sigmund does hereby adjourn this hearing at 5:07 p.m. on Wednesday, November 18th, 2020. The committee will hold its next hearing at 4:30 p.m. on Wednesday, December 9th, 2020, or at the call of the chair, unless the Secretary Treasurer has not received complete applications for committee consideration. So can we vote on this, please? Everyone yes, please vote. Go ahead. Okay, now I'm no longer seeing Stuart. Does Adam, are you seeing Stuart? Because I've got,
I see him. He voted okay.
okay.
Yeah, we have a vote.
All right. Okay, fine. Thank you very much. And I appreciate everyone's assistance. Thank you.
Thanks, Karen.
Very much. Have a great night.
Did a good job. Bye now.